Let me resume the recording and share screen with you so we can start the session now. So, I think, can you see my screen all right? Awesome, awesome, okay. I'll be a little bit slow. Oh, yes, that's a very good start because a lot of Azure, Azure 900 content will be on the DP-100. So basically, for DP-100, you don't need to have like a deep knowledge on the other modules that AZ100 have, but then you need to have like good understanding. For example, like what you can use with web app and what you can use with logic apps, you know. So, and like how to create resource, how to manage it, how to create VM and stuff. So all of this could be also in the DP-100. So it's a very good crowd, Yolanda. So let's don't delay further and let's start this. You know, we go through with the similar topics. So since you were here in the last sessions, I'll skip this. Basically, we just we just get the people who are prepared to take DP-100. Then we provide study resources and analyze exam content, and we break the study content. Actually, I have to highlight this. This exam is about data scientists on Azure, so there's actually a lot of knowledge requirement on data scientists, and for Azure, the concept, the requirements is only based on like how to use it. It's not much on like in-depth knowledge, and I'll talk more about it in the next slides. So you know, usual usual stuff that you have seen in the last sessions. So here are some resources for study for DP-100. Of course, like we have to go through the skill measure that from Microsoft. We also, you know, Microsoft documents, it's actually very, very wonderful. And but the bad thing is that it takes time to analyze, but that is really wonderful for you when you need to like think about like which scenario to apply it. And my general advice is that you go through concepts first. So let me show you on here. So, you know, definitely architecture and terms, you need to go through that. And let me see, concepts. These are like, make sure you know the concepts very well before you start the exams. So these things are something that you would need to go through Microsoft documents for grasp the sites. Also, Microsoft Learn, I have heard so many people that pass the test just based on Microsoft Learn. It's very lengthy. I was checking it today, so let me briefly show you also. But I have heard so many like it's only 3 modules like this, but then like when you click in, there will be like many different modules. And yeah, I have heard like really great reviews on this, so definitely one of the resources that you should check out. Okay, so you know, on-demand training on Microsoft is also a very good resource. I just learned about it actually as from one of the posts in our channel. So you can see here like it divides into different topics, and I think these modules is also the same with if you are in class. So often they have like Microsoft partners that hold classes, you know, and I check the contents and they are like similar modules. So it's a very good concept. It's very good content for you to review. The only thing that you have to register for each modules. So after you register, they will send you the videos link for you to watch. So it's a little bit time consuming in that you have to register for each of these. So, you know, GitHub repo Pluralsight super very good, but very lengthy. So I think it takes like 24 hours to complete, up to you. But then this exam DP-100 is require like more in-depth knowledge. So it might be worthwhile to invest your time in there. but Microsoft Learn and Microsoft Document first, because these are like, like authentic contents from Microsoft. You were asking, I think, I'm not sure if you are another girl, but there was questions on the exam done on the AI 900. So that exam, because it's so new, so there isn't any like dumps yet. But then for DP-100, there's some questions already available on the internet, so you can go to here to see the questions that might come up in the exams, or you can also go on Udemy. I haven't checked on Udemy yet, but I think that costs you only $5. So if you have like extra cash to spare, then you can try that route also. So some exam terms to help you with the content. So and I was browsing other people blogs to see the experience. So that also one of the good way to get ready for the exams. But of course, like I put here as the I put the skill in orders of like which you should go first and which you should go later. So definitely go to the skill measure document, Microsoft documents, Microsoft Learn for the exam. Okay, so let's go to the overview. Oh, hi, Kennedy. Oh, glad you're here. Hope you see the share. Right.
Yes, good morning.
Good
Good
morning.
morning to you
Yes,
and Yolanda as well.
glad that we gather here. So, oh, that's right. Yeah, Yolanda night. So we got to be hurry. She can go to bed. Thank you so much for
Okay.
attending.
Sorry,
Huh? Yes.
you're welcome. I have just seen the link that you shared a short while this morning, just before I logged in. So I didn't get to update, but maybe in the next class that we may have, a future upcoming one, I
Mm-hmm.
think I can prepare something for DP-100. And
Mm-hmm.
what I was thinking is there's the new concept that we've not learned in class
Yep.
for using Azure ML SDK.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe just creating a model showing what is Azure model ML SDK and how can we train a model using it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
As for example, like it's demonstrated in the Microsoft Learn GitHub links.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be wonderful, because SDK, I think a lot of us is not familiar with the concept and how to use it, and especially from what I read from the exam review, there will be like coding questions related to SDK. So like like it will be a part of complete code, so they will give you like which one would you use for like complete such and such a task in the SDK, for example, like that. I actually will show you guys this. So yeah, that's a great way for prepare for the exam. Thank you so much, Kennedy. So let's take a
You're
look.
welcome.
Yeah, thank you. So let's take a look at the core component. So you can go here for skill measure and type of questions. I think I showed it in the last study group. Um, skill measure is just basically on the what Microsoft is looking for, and we will go through this in the next slide. But this slide, I just want to show you like generally what you should expect in this exam. So 210 minutes length, and 180 is for questions, and 30 minutes for like test prep, filling surveys and stuff. 40 to 60 questions. So there's no specific number of questions yet. So from what I learned, it just range from 40 to 60, and some questions will not count as grade, and yeah, there's no real statistic in this. So you will have like 4 to 6 case study questions, and 4 to 6 case studies question on the like classification, regression analysis, and with Azure Machine Learning Studio. So basically, in case questions, you would need to have like business understanding, and I find some good guide on that. I'll talk on the next slides also. So of course, like other questions could be multiple choice, multiple answers, best answer. This one really take a good care on that, because it's not a right answer, it's the best answer. So these things you would need to like review on the best practice, and you would need to go through with like the concept that mentioned in the here for like to know which is the best answer, and arrange in correct order, you know, drag and drop, mark review, review screen, active screen. So if you have questions on these, click on the type of questions. These will be includes building a list, or will also include example in this YouTube link. The only thing that doesn't have is complete the code. And let me see if I can, you know, you can so basically it will give you let me see if I can quickly check this as your exam. Okay, I was able to pull it this morning, but not now. Let's see. Yes, so basically they will give you like, you know, you need to complete this task, and which code line you will select. So because right now with the COVID, so a lot of people taking the test online. So they don't have the capability to provide you with the lab. So instead, like there will be questions on complete the code. You know, you have to select the right code to complete the task. So basically, what it meant. And I was watching a exam DP-100 preparation from Microsoft Ignite, which is the event that they hold a couple of times a year to promote their certifications and also their products. So in there, I I saw like if you take the exam next year, there will be performance-based tests on the in a limit of time. So basically, what it is that you know, like in like 5 minutes, you need to like create a portal. So which way you create a portal in 5 minutes, it will be measured by and will be counted as your performance. So it's a very good idea to like complete this test this year, you know, so you won't have the lab, you won't have the performance-based testing. So I think next year it will be much more difficult for this test.
Okay,
Yeah, another
interesting.
thing. Yeah, so our goal is get all of this year. So another thing that they will mention also, they mentioned in the clip on Microsoft Ignite. I think I include it in the resource. Let me see. Oh, yes, I didn't. Oh, yes, here exam prep from Microsoft Ignite. If you want, you can click here. It's like 48 minutes. You're not gonna watch it here. But another highlight that I learned from the Microsoft Ignite is that next year, because this content, they will be testing like data science on Azure. So there will be a lot of questions on data science. Like I'll show you next slide, but at the next year, there will be new exam. It will be more focused on Azure machine learning. So more focused on like expertise on how to use components on Azure, and it will have performance tests. So up to you whether you want to take like a version with more focus on data science or more focus on the, you know, Azure products about data science. So to you guys. So here's some the exam highlight. So I like this guideline so much that I didn't write my own because they have a lot of things that's similar to what I would have wrote. So you know, like for example, this guy he highlight like, you know, like for SDK, what do you need, like create run experience. So basically he also highlight like all the verb that I keep talking about in the last session. So basically in the exams guideline, what the first thing you need to look at is the verb to be able to access like what they would expect you to do. So for like model training process, for example, create, pass, run, monitor. So they expect you to expertise in the whole machine learning model cycle, for example, like that. So the verb, the more it's specific, the more they will looking for you to like be able to complete the task in details. So basically what the exam is, and these number, they just like general guidelines. If you look at different guidelines, like not for Microsoft, and the number will change. But from what I see, that the heaviest weight is for Azure machine learning workspace, and for developing and running models. So pay attention to that. We will go through with that in the class. So back here, will there be tests on CLI? So CLI is command line, you know. So like, for example, if you want to deploy web app, web logic, deploy services on Azure using like a terminal, I have not seen any mention on this, so I'll look for more. The reason why I put it here, because there was one question like this on the forum, so, and I was looking for it to see if I have any queue, and so far I haven't seen. So I guess if no one review about it, likely that there will be not in the test. So we won't be prioritized on this. Would there be a required knowledge on coding? Yes, and there is a big part of the exam. So in this guideline, you can see that some of the study guide, you know, like how to create a compute instance, and this is in Python, you know. So definitely take a look at this guideline, because it's fantastic note on like how to create, how to set up workspace with like JSON and Python. And if they already test a way to create it in Python, they will be unlikely to test it on PowerShell. It's just my logic. I'm not sure. I haven't taken the test also, so it's just my guessing. Questions on scikit learn libraries, panel data frame, matplot, TensorFlow, you know. So please check on it and review it very well, because this exam is for data scientists, so they expect you to work with this daily. So question on deployment SDK, and I'll need your help on this because I have no idea on this department. So the notebook that will be tested, so Azure notebook and notebook in AML, this service could be retired October 9th. So I'm not sure if after that they will continue to test on it. From what I learned from the Microsoft Ignite, the test knowledge is normally updated a few months later than the actual product. So there will be no preview products. Number one is there will be no preview products in the test. So number two, area that I find a little bit ambiguous, and I'll look for more, is whether if a service is retired, will there be continue on the test. So I'll need to find this part more. So, you know, Jupyter Notebook, Jacqueline Notebook, you need to be familiar with it also. Business understanding of algorithms, anomaly detection, you know, utilize different data source, depends on the business use case. Hello, Harris. Welcome, you make it. We are at the exam highlight, so there still be a lot to learn, so don't worry. So again, I have highlighted this point from times to times, but I'll highlight it again. So this exam will test a lot on data science knowledge. It's just not on Azure only. There's like maybe 10-20% on Azure products, but then the majority of the test could be on data science. So you really need to learn and have the concrete foundation on data science knowledge. So that is one of the issue that I'll have also, because I work more with data engineer. So my data science knowledge is based on learning only. So I'll have to do a lot of reviews on that. So data scientist general knowledge. So you can see that this slide, I take exactly of this out of Microsoft Ignite event, and I show you where to find that clip. I'll show Harris again because he just joined. So Harris, we have a lot of reference from this exam prep from Microsoft Ignite. So please watch it later on. You will see like a lot of things I'm continue to talk will be related to this clip. So, you know, you got to familiar yourself with this, because it will be on the test, and I have seen that people review of it from times to times. So I'm not sure if we can have time to go over all of this. Um, I'm open for you guys' suggestion on how we can conduct this information, because since there was mentioned from time to time, like that clips is only let me see when is this clip was made. I was having this. Okay, this clip was in January 14, 2020. So it's just this year. And the guy was talking like majority of the component would be based on like data scientist general knowledge. So we have been 8 months, so I'm not sure if they have increased or changed the content. I have seen they highlight that they here, let me show you. I have seen that they updated the exam in May 22, but then the updated content is basically just like changing the name, you know, like studio, like from small capital to big capital, to like normal letter to a capital letter, and just basically the name change. I don't see like any change regarding like the weight of putting more data science content or like putting less data science content. So I guess the guideline here is still applicable. So please focus on the data science knowledge also. And also there's a lot of concept that you guys might not familiar. So Spark, Azure Databricks, you know, Docker. So these would be like on the data engineer content, and I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure how we. I can conduct the training on Spark. It's all right for me. I do it at work, so um, I'll see how long we. Sorry, can you guys remind me how long we have until the class end, so that I could think a way to fit all of the content in here. Is it like on the end of September, right?
Good
September
question.
10th. Oh, okay. September 10th. So basically, we have shoes. We have less than 3 weeks. That's bad. Okay. So when do you guys plan to have the exam? Like roughly like October, the end of September, November, December? Because these are a lot of content to cover. I'm not sure we can cover all in a few sessions. So what is you guys' timeline on the exam?
Well, I already booked the exam for 10th September. That is in 3 weeks.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So I booked the exam on the 22nd of September. So let's try to finish. Okay, October. Yeah. So our timeline is very close. So you know, September, December, October. Okay. So we will. Let's try. So my suggestion is that we try to deliver the content of we spend like we spend next week on the Azure products, and let's have another session. So we have like 2 sessions per week. Let's do that because we all crunch for the exam. So let's try next week on Azure products, and the rest. Okay, next week like Saturday, Sunday on Azure products, and the rest will be on the review this data science general knowledge, so that we can go through with this. I'll spend like 30 minutes on Spark and Docker and Zeppelin, so these I can cover. I'm not sure. Scikit-learn, yes. Scikit-learn statistic. I think we will need to review on our own because yeah, I don't think I can do statistic also. But I think it will be like basically on like yeah, I don't know what it has on statistic. Okay, scikit-learn. I'll ask a friend of mine to review for us on like this scikit-learn at the end brain script. So I'll ask him to come over to the channel and have like one session on the data scientist knowledge and reviews within the term. Hopefully, it will we will have enough time on that. Kind of data frames. I guess you guys have to review on that your own. So okay, so let's do this. Next session will go like really in the Azure products. Kennedy, can you help me with SDK and I'll do the hyperparameter tuning, you know, automate machine learning Azure, like stuff like that. And
Yes.
awesome, awesome. Yolanda, would you have expertise in the data science knowledge in the algorithm, maybe? Uh, oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah, any content could be great because, you know, there's a lot of content to prepare. So if we come together, I think we will go through all of this. Harris, AI 900 is really, really easy. Like really, really easy. You just need like 1 week to study for it. Don't delay it because right now we just finished with the AI 900. So your memory is still fresh, you know. So it's better to take it early then go through it and go for the next exam because there will be changes in the exam starting next year. So if you can go through it this year, it will be better. Okay, so let's go through with this. So yeah, better to reschedule it, Harris. Actually, I think that the discount for the AI 900 will roll out on September. So if you can take it September, then take it. Then for the later time of the year, you can plan it for all the more difficult exams. Okay, so I'll I'll send you guys this slide. I'll share with you uh, the edit right on here. Oh, could you guys PM me your email address so that I can share with you because I don't want everyone can go here and edit it. Harris, do you want to take a component on here also that we can come up and present like each of us like 2-3 slides on these data science, this general knowledge? Okay, you don't have to answer right now. We can talk more on that. Okay, so let's talk briefly about Azure machine learning products, services, sorry. So basically for Azure machine learning services, there's a set of Azure cloud service plus a Python SDK to enable you to like prepare the data, build model, train model, manage models, deploy experience. So again, whatever in the previous mode will not be in the exam. This is different from our AI 900 because AI 900 there's a lot of preview one that is in the exam. So that is one key difference. And also Azure Cloud Service could include, you know, like Web Logic and Logic apps. So and maybe Power App also. So these apps are used to deploy models. So Power Apps, for example, I haven't looked at Web App and Logic App, but Power App basically is a low-code tool that you can use to deploy like AI builder and stuff. So anything that enable you to apply AI and machine learning will be tested. So please go through that also, and I'll try to list it in the group. So here are some example of the products. So this is like the full guidelines. So I was telling Yolanda earlier that in here, please go to concept. This concept like will be for sure be in the test. Almost, almost for all the exams that I set, this concept is very, very closely to what we tested of both 900 and 100 levels. So make sure you go through this. And the second thing you want to go through is the architecture and terms. So, you know, like you want to know like how it works. So basically architecture is how it works. And the terms is like the service name. You know how Azure naming is very, very confused. So go through this well and make sure you learn that the name here is not like the basic name. It's actually like the name of the service in Azure, so that you don't get confused in the exam. So for example, Azure Machine Learning Service. So you need to familiar yourself with the concepts, as I said, workspace. So back to the back to this, you need to see like what workspace, what verb they use for what verb they use that related to, for example, Azure Machine Learning Workspace. You see, they expect you to know how to create, how to configure, and how to manage. So all of these skills you need to master to be able to take the test. Others, other domain such as AutoML, you need just to use. You don't need to like know how to set up, but how to use it. Example. So I want to highlight for you that the verbs in the guideline is very, very important. So take a look at the skill guideline again to see like which they expect you. If they have like really specific verb, pay attention to the skills, because they will ask you for number one. They will ask you for like how to do it in the it like coding way, like Python coding, like I show you examples, and how to set it up in like web interface. So those will be likely two areas that will ask you how to do it. And the use could be more like general knowledge. I'm not like 100% sure, but it's not more like general knowledge, like how you applied it. Okay, so Machine Learning Studio, what they will test on is mainly modules and algorithm. So you need to go through these modules very well and study each of these modules, because only when you know each of these modules, you can know how to apply it. And remember, the name is very confused and they have the tendency to mix up the name. So, for example, I have seen, I think last time, Anne, one of the presenter, she also mentioned, for example, like, instead of apply filter, they could say like get filter. And if you click on get filter, you won't get marked for that, because the proper name is apply filter. So that's why I stress it again and again, like to learn the name very, very well, because it's one of the trick in the question. And it actually was mentioned on the Microsoft Ignite that Microsoft, so they try to see like how to conduct the test. So basically, they were taking a look at the students and how they pass the medical exams, and the way they pass it. Like sometimes students will see the medical exams and they see the Q on the symptoms and they guess the answer, and that what they don't want. So they like often mix the arrangement, mix the terms. So pay attention to that. So also ML, you need to know how to use it from Machine Learning Studio and SDK and other like data factory orchestration, web app, logic app, as I mentioned, to deploy the models. And there will be workload questions. So what you use, what service you use it. So whether service can run on virtual machines like the SVM, the LVM, Azure Notebook, Azure Databricks, Azure HD Insight, and of course, Cognitive Service API. So some questions that I have been browsing that example of what they will ask. For example, like what should you use if you want to run a Python notebook without any installation, not Azure subscription, right? So the answer in here would be Azure Notebook. So there is no need of Azure subscription, and it's still a Python notebook. And this service will be changed on October 9th. They will switch it to Visual Studio Notebook Online. I think they already like demo on that. So I'm not sure if they update the exam content based on that. So another thing is which virtual machine do you need if you want to connect to PostgreSQL database? So the answer is the SVM. So these questions like this could come up in the in the exam. So I have seen this, and it would be a good way to prepare for the exam. So this implement SMART goal for this exam, you know. So when you look at the exam, I mean, when you look at the concept, try to think about like who is this used for, what service it includes, why should we use it, and where is it implemented, and which is the best way or like recommended way to implement it. And this way it will help you to answer questions like, you know, best method to select for the exams, and what is the environment, what is the ecosystem it includes, you know, what use case it has. So when you learn the concept, try to apply this. I will try to apply it in this course as well, so that we can have the overview of it. Because different from AI 900, DP-100 is actually a high level exam. So they expect you to not only remember the concept, but also how to apply it. And on top of that, you also need to demonstrate how you apply the data science concept in this exam. So there's a lot of knowledge that we need to cram in the upcoming months for this. So I guess this is all that I have for today. Do you guys have any questions? I didn't have time to prepare for the DP, for the AI 100, unfortunately, because I was spend time a lot on this. But then hi Sachin. So I was talking earlier with Yolanda, because I was looking at our Slack forum, and AI 100, basically it will be a lot about cognitive services and how to implement it. So unless you are like working on cognitive service daily, oh, that's all right, Sachin. That's all right. I will have the report on that. So basically, AI 100, if you don't work on it daily, and you have a lot of implements on that, then I'm not sure if it would be benefit for us. While this exam, like there will be a lot of tests on data science, so you will have a lot of application on the other on other platforms to even like with just the test on this exam. So I'm thinking, because since we are crunching for this, so either we have another session on the DP-100 on the Saturday and Sunday, or we can do like a DP-100 on the Saturday and the DP-200 on the Sunday, because what DP-200 does is a data science. So you will learn a lot about like data factory, which is what I mentioned earlier. So, you know, like a lot of like process how to ingest and ETL data. So and of course, like it will also cover the modules on like Databricks and Spark and stuff like that. It's very common on data engineer. So that one way we could do that. So please let me know in the channel on which way you guys prefer this to go ahead. Sachin, also we was talking about earlier that because this exam requires a lot of data scientist general knowledge. So I wonder if we could come up and prepare this content together. So I'll take. So Kennedy will help us prepare the SDK contents. I'll do the Spark and things like, you know, like Azure services on here. Yolanda and Harris will maybe help us on the data scientist modules, and we can discuss it more on the Slack. So Sachin, if we could have you help us on the data scientist general knowledge slides, it would be great, because these are a lot to cover in just 4 weeks. And if we come up together and maybe like we can quiz one another, we can like briefly introduction, it would be great, because I think quizzing activities would be good, because we will learn together in all of these quizzes. So I think that's it for today's introduction.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Jane. I have a question.
Yes.
The Databricks I know you'll cover these in details, but I've
Mm-hmm.
seen that the DP-100 also covers Databricks and HD Insight, how where to deploy, and
Mm-hmm.
just have a question. What was the difference between Databricks and HD Insights at high level?
Oh, I haven't used Data Edge. You mean like, sorry, you mean this one, right?
Yeah,
Azure Edge Insight,
yes,
yes. So I haven't used this one, so I would have to have a look at it. But then Azure Databricks, basically, this is a notebook. So it's like a Python notebook that run on top of Spark API, and so that like you can run as a normal Python notebook, but it's use Spark cluster power to query and to train your model and visualize your data. Yes, for HD Insight, I have used it, so I would have no clue. But let's have a quick look on it. Question. Oh, okay. So it's also run on top of answer right here. Oh, okay. So it's basically just a different provider. So Azure Databricks. So Databricks is a service from Apache. You know, it's not from Azure. So Azure integrated, and HD Insight is umbrella term. Yes. Okay. So they change it and implement it more. Okay. Let's see. So they base in the open source framework and they customize it more. For Databricks, you have like it on Azure, on AWS, on GCP. So it's a Apache services, and they have like enterprise and they have the free one. Okay, I got it. Let's see the comparison on this. Good question. What? This is a bad comparison. It is so bad.
yeah, really bad.
So let's see. So So basically, what I can see the similar is that they are both Hadoop and Spark based.
Mm.
Yes, I'm not sure. Okay, I don't know about that. Oh, yeah.
Anyway, we can discuss maybe further in the next class.
Pardon?
No problem.
Yes.
I'm saying they seem really similar. They seem really
Yes.
similar in terms of the offering.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah, but
So,
we can.
mhm. So what I understand from the post that I just Google is basically Microsoft. They take the concept of Hadoop, Spark, Kafka, you know, and they build their own service, and they call it Azure HDI site. Azure Databricks is what Apache service, and it's for like you can use it in multiple clouds. So AWS they also have the Databricks. Azure they also have GCP they have. So it's products that they just implement it, and Azure HDI Insight is something that they customize it from their own. Is that help, Kennedy?
Yes, it has. Yes, it has. Thank you.
So I think to talk, are you familiar with Apache stacks or like a cloud stack? Let's talk about it actually.
Sorry,
Are
sorry,
you
say it again.
sorry? Are you familiar with Apache stacks or like Cloudera stacks?
Not much. I have more focus on the data science, and
Oh,
I'm
okay.
now just starting to read about the. I know at high level, Apache Spark used a lot for streaming, Hadoop for batch processing, and lots of. And Spark is more faster than Hadoop because Spark works in memory, where Hadoop works a lot with disk. So the Spark is now the current in thing and helps a lot in streaming.
Oh, okay. I see. I think I saw Yolanda message on that Saga Lab who give the talk on Databricks. Yolanda, could you share with us more when is the talk? So I could use a few 10 more minutes to talk about Cloudera and Hadoop and Spark. I think I'm comfortable talking about it. We shall prepare. But Yolanda, if you have the details on Saga Lab, then it would be a great help. I want to participate on it too. So let's talk a little bit on Cloudera and process of data ingest and stuff. I think it would be useful to have the overview for this exam. So let me see where to start. Okay, Cloudera Hadoop. Right. Let me. So Apache project is an open source project like with cross platform. So there will be like tons of service, and one way that we want to focus is Cloudera and Hortonworks. Right. So before for Hadoop, we have Cloudera and we have Hortonworks. So Cloudera is a paid version and Hortonworks is the free version. So paid version is like they focus on the enterprise level. So they customize the stack that run really well for like scaling in enterprise. And Hortonworks is like free. You don't have to pay anything. So recently Cloudera and Hortonworks merged together. So they are one now. So let's look at the spec. Oh, okay, so Yolanda just sent a session on the 23 August. Okay, on Sunday. Awesome. Oh, wow, that's awesome. So let's join. Oh, okay. Hang on, I cannot open this. Awesome. Let's see what this is. Oh, hasn't started. Oh, okay. Awesome. I'll just let it be here. Thank you so much, Yolanda. I'll save the link just in case we don't have the access on that later on. Okay, awesome. So I'll join this to learn more about Azure Databricks. What happens with my situation is that before my company used cloud, so we have like data lake on cloud, beautiful, wonderful. But now we move it on-prem, so uh, mostly, sorry, let me. So
Why would that be the case from cloud to prem?
yeah, so before we have like cloud first. I think this is also one of the concept. If you go to a Nutaprix scholarship website, I didn't participate on that one, but I saw some of the videos from my friend account. So basically, before there was cloud first, so everything they move it on cloud and try to use the cloud. But then after a while, a lot of companies, it's not just my company situation, but a lot of companies, they realize that instead of using one cloud and instead of using cloud first, there should be a concept of cloud smart. So you use cloud, but then you use cloud for which service to utilize your cost. So things that like you have to run very frequently, or like you have like a lot of data, you have like huge amounts of data that you need to use and you run it like very frequently. Maybe it depends on the company, but maybe it would better for the cost if you do it like on-prem, or like you have like some data restriction that you cannot move it on cloud, and maybe it would be better to move it on-prem. So whatever the underlying situation is, I don't know what is the details of the process. So anyway, top-down managers in my company is decided to move it on-prem. So that what happened. So I no longer use AWS, and I no longer use Databricks, and just on-prem Hadoop and Cloudera, and there's a lot of manually set up and stuff like that. So that's one of the bad thing. And but anyway, so the good thing is that now I have to learn like the whole stack of Cloudera, because before for the for like on cloud, there's a lot of there are a lot of like products or service. I don't know what it's called, PaaS I think. So they offer like serverless Spark and Hadoop, where like basically you just need to write a code. I think code a service really. So you just need to write a code, and then they will set up like the whole underlying server and system to scale based on your code. It have the auto scale, so I never have to worry about infrastructure. So now, like since we move it on-prem, I have to like go really deep on like understand about the infrastructure and how like node and cluster and things like that work. So it's have been very interesting journey. So I not only like learn about Spark, but then I also need to learn about the underlying HDFS, which is like the Hadoop file system on that. For this exam, I think you don't need to learn about the Hadoop infrastructure. You just need to know like it's a cluster and it has the cluster power, and you just need to know about a virtual machine. I don't think you need to know about the underlying cluster on that. So it's a good thing. But anyway, let me introduce you on the Spark and Hadoop. So yes, thanks Yolanda. The link is fantastic. So oh, I actually have slide. Yes, I have slide. So if you guys go on my GitHub, I have been providing trainings and slices for Hadoop. What I'm looking to provide is CCA 175. My friends and I are going to take the certificate. It's on the Cloudera and Hadoop, so we will have more trainings material on that. But here is the Spark training. So presentations are this, yes. I just want to mention to you guys that this. Um, so unfortunately, my collab before, like I used to set up a collab notebook to demo the Spark SQL, but I think the drive had changed a little bit because I created this like months ago. The drive might have changed, so that's why it doesn't work. So if you are a little bit techy, then you can go in here and change the drive. I'll show you the part. I haven't changed it because now my company doesn't use Google anymore, so GCP anymore. So I mean, like Google Stack, Google Drive and stuff. So I cannot use Google Colab. So I didn't bother to change it. But basically, it's this. I think you need to update it to the newer version to be able to run it. So that's it. So let me talk a little bit with you about Spark. When you have time, please go through with this content. I'll try to add more. I have also the data demo. Sorry. So I have the symbol data in here that you can try to take a look and train with it. And also I have provide Scala training materials, but then I don't think we need to know Scala. I think just Python and PySpark at most would be good. I think even like for this exam, you don't need to know you don't need to know much about PySpark. You just need to know like what it is and how Spark work. I think it will be sufficient. I'll have a double check on that. But just in case, I'll introduce you briefly on what Spark and how to use PySpark. Just in case if they ask. Okay, so Spark. So basically, before Spark happened, right? Well, let me take you back like way before. We have like one standalone server. We have one standalone server and data science. We used to train on that. And when we need more resource, what we do is that we put more RAM. We try to request like more GPU, for example, to help us deal with the workload. So what Hadoop, when Hadoop was born, is to address that because it's a distributed system. So basically, you have the power of different computers combined to help you solve the workload. And if you need more workload, instead of adding more RAM, adding more GPU, upgrade the server, you add more servers to scale it up to help you solve it together. So Hadoop, there's some issues in that, like resource management. You have to use Yarn, and you need Java to be able to work with Hadoop. So Spark is it was born because they can do like multiple languages. So for Spark, you have like R, Java, Scala, Python, and you can all use it. And on top of that, there's a service API, like you can see here, like Spark Streaming Graph X ML, which is for machine learning, and Spark SQL. So it will be built on top of HDFS. So Hadoop, if you see on the internet, there will be a lot of talk about like how it's declining and Spark is replacing it. But it's replacing in terms of it's replacing the Hadoop Yarn Java coding system. HDFS is still a file system that used for Spark. So in here, just a use case, and my last class was about IoT, so I include the Spark streaming for IoT. So, um, so basically, what Spark Core API, you guys, just as I say, you use R, SQL, Python, Scala, and Java to control the modules of Spark, like Spark Streaming, Spark SQL, MLDeep in machine learning. And Spark, basically, I don't think I use it. Just Python and Scala is the default language for Spark. So what Spark is a fast, expressive cluster computing system. So it's compatible with Apache Hadoop in terms of that. It uses HDFS, and actually it support a lot of storage system. So for Azure, I think there's data blob. They can query from data blob, and they get the data for our training and testing model. But I think at this time I still use I still use Amazon. So I was putting S3. Afro is just like a file type. So basically, what its strength is that it improves efficiency through in-memory computing, and it's used the strength of the cluster to computing together. So it's very easy to scale. It has a great community support, and it's a default for when you deal with big data. So because it's a distributed system, so basically you have one driver and you have multiple workers. So I think once you command, so here you are with your client machine and you sending commands like analyze, distributing, scheduling, monitor, and these commands could be distributed to driver, and the driver will distribute it to the executors to run your commands. Yes. So basically, it just summarizes of what I just say. So the theory is that like it's so easy, right? There's a lot of issues that underlie this back, like out of memories. Your jobs not run efficiently, data drift and stuff. So it's not fantastic. It sounds, but it's a solution right now for doing big data. And you have like Spark jobs for monitor the contents, and based on that monitoring, you have to set up different parameters to help you deal with the issues in the data. and Spark Core API. So the originally of Spark API is RDD, and in 2003 you have data frame. Okay, all of these core, you have data frame, you have data set, but basically it just helps you to easier to manipulate the data, but everything will be translated to RDD. So RDD is the original distribution collection of JVM objects. Even if you write, even if you use data frame or data set to write your command, it will go back to RDD. So that's why if you're taking CCA 175, you have to master this. So there's no way to skip it. For data frame, it's easy. You don't need to worry much. You even can use like with a little setup, you can use like normal SQL to query your data and manipulate your data based on that way. So I'll have to look more on what they test on Spark. So if they test on Spark, then remember this. Scikit for they will have. Let me go back to the slide. So remember, Spark for machine learning, you use MLDeep. Scikit-learn, sometimes it will work, sometimes it don't. If you want it to work, because Spark is a distributed system, right? So your data is not in one place; it's like distributed across the machine. So if you want to use like normal data frame, like for example pandas, then you need to translate your Spark data frame into pandas data frame. So remember that, like a lot of normal Python libraries for machine learning, it won't work in Spark. So you have to translate it back to pandas data frame. One way that I'm using is I'm using Coalesce. It's a very new service, and it's from Databricks. So when you install it, you can use it on the on-prem cluster. But when you install it, you need like Databricks not Coalesce to be able to call Coalesce for this. So what Coalesce is Pandas API that work on Spark. So the syntax is very similar to Pandas one, so it will help you a lot in the translate Spark data frame to Coalesce and work with incorporate it with other scikit-learns and matplotlib to like visualize and analyze your data. Of course, it would be better for your machine to use MLE to analyze it. Also, for Azure, they just announced it, I think like last month. I'm not sure the test on this. It could be too new. They announced ML Spark package. It's Azure way to address big data on the Spark for this. So there's a lot of support on LGBM, LightGBM, and CNTK and OpenCV. I'm actually looking at LGBM for my own work because MLE is not optimized with Spark at all. So remember this. For Spark, there is MLE for machine learning. If you want to use normal scikit-learn, you would have to convert the data frame, but then it's not recommended because the the power of distributed system is that you have the data in all across servers. You have to reduce the workload. If you transform it into one server, what happened is that like every data will be collected in that server, and there will be issues with like it overload. So that's one area that you need to be aware of. So let's move on to yeah, so basically it's just a comparison of different Spark data frame data set. So I think for now for this test, the most you would need to remember is data frame. If you have more time, then you can take a look at this. But generally, I don't think much people remember this way of writing. If you see like on some GitHub examples, if you see like code that like for Spark that really lengthy, and like add dot something is generally like this, and you would know like it's an old way already use data frame. This is about core concept of Spark. I don't think they will test you in the Spark level, but let's cover this next week. It's basically the concept of Spark, but I don't think they will ask you on this. Yeah, that will be too much. Let me take a look on what they will test you on Spark. Then I'll build the course around it, because with Spark it's a little bit tricky to use comparing to like normal Python. Is that like they're different? Their concept of like immutable, where like data frame, once you create it, you cannot change it. So you have to like create new data frames. And also there's concept of lazy evaluation. So like you can write code whatever you like. It won't run until you ask it to run. So you have to like use a certain syntax and command, like join, map, a show, to be able to do it. So I'll have to take a look on like what specifically they will test you on to be able to create the specific content on that. So I think that's it for today overview of Spark. You guys have questions? Also, please join Saga sessions on this. I think he will have more information on the Azure Databricks. You guys have any questions? Okay, I think that's it for this week. Oh yes, GitHub link. I'll add in on today's session and the data and stuff I haven't created. Okay, I'll send you this. Okay. Okay, so here I put let me see. I didn't have the VM for trainings. Okay, I'll try to get the VM for trainings so that you guys can use it for Spark and Cloudera. Right now, I think the best could be you set up it on locals, or you try to use Collab for Spark. Let me see. I think I have, yes. So for start with Spark, you guys can have Databricks. The mobile book is free. I think yeah, I don't think Azure they have like free notebook for Spark. So Cloudera they have a VM. You can just Google Cloudera VM Spark, then there will be one Collab standalone Spark. So you would have to look around on the, you just type in Collab Spark, and there should be like example of Collab notebook, or you can use mine. Just need to update the drive. That's it. I'll try to do it sometime next 2 weeks. And or you can install Spark as standalone cluster. So if you want to use it, okay, I'll try to update on this. And basically, you just need to Google like install Spark standalone and download Java Spark with Hadoop, and PySpark or Scala package, depends on what you need to use. So for me, I use PyCharm. So I need to like download the PySpark environment, and let me show you this just in case if you want to install it. Okay, so first you download Java, right? So I think you can access it here. Okay, let's see. The concept work the same like as in your machine, your local machine. So first you need to install Spark with Hadoop. So you have to go to the Spark website. You select that. And secondly, you need to install Java, and then you need to set up your environment variable. In here, you need to set up like Spark Home and Java Home, so that your code will realize will know like where to go. And for Windows, you need to also install WinUtils, and so that, let me see, you need to install. Oh, where is it? Jeez, I have too many tabs. Okay, I lost my own notebook. so basically, you need to, let me just open this window. Yes, if you just do this for, so if you guys use Windows, then you need to do another steps that like, okay, so you install setup Java, you add path, you define the Java home in the environment variable, set up environment variable, make sure you have the administration authorized to do this, and then you set up, this is for Scala. So, instead of Scala, you use Python or PySpark. It's the same method. If you need to use PySpark, then you need to specify in your search and set up Hadoop. So this is the part where you need to set up Hadoop home, and you need to install WinUtils so that it will check your your machine in thinking that you install the HDFS environment. So once it's set, make sure you have your Python, and you can start coding in PySpark. So you can follow this like that. It look a little bit confused, but then just remember you need to install Spark, Java, WinUtils, then you are good. Okay, I think that's it for this quick presentation. You guys have any other questions? Okay, so see you guys next week. We will keep in touch on the post on the Slack on the discuss for the next contents, and please send me your email so that I can add you guys on the notebook. And yes, good night, Yolanda. Good day, everyone else. So I hope you learn some new information on this, and I'll see you next week. I'll try to do 2 sessions now so that we can, yes, definitely Power BI. I am very looking forward for that because I also want to prepare for the DA-100. Okay, so thank you so much, everyone. See you guys next week. Bye-bye. Please send me your email so I can add everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.